Reading the mystical secrets, mostly of Shamas Tabriz. Now, he says, page 180, my heart is no one's treasury but God's. Why should I allow idiots to roam free inside? I'll throw them all out in no time.
No, Emily should know that.
Throw them out. He throws out the idiots. My heart has no concept of itself. It finds its nourishment from another place. It is, in fact, nourished on itself. A group of men kept inviting me, and I kept conjuring excuses to avoid them, and they were Muslim only on the outside and infidels inside. I used to go to church and found many infidels who became my friends, infidels on the outside, but true Muslims inside. One day I asked them to bring me something to eat. They were overjoyed and with great appreciation brought food and broke their fast with me. They had been fasting secretly. You think those were Christians?
They were true Muslims inside, but infidels outside.
Yeah, they're Christians there. He probably thinks they're nice.
No, they were still Muslims, but they were the real ones.
All right.
The good ones.
When you hurt me, you will be hurting Molana in turn.
I mean, if he was hungry and he asked for food, they gave him food and they ate with him.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I know they were true, kind people. When you hurt me, you will be hurting Moana in turn. If they were to hurt him, he was friends with Moana Rumi. Each verse of the Quran contains a message. Each is a love letter. Naturally, he likes the Quran. Do you really think God cares if you went to the pleasure house? Does God care? How can the unbelieving infidel say other than his regular blasphemy? The faithful talk about faith, while the unbelievers blaspheme. Garbage in, garbage out. A tailor who wants to try his hand at ironmongery will scorch his beard unless he goes to the ironmonger and asks to be taught properly. Then he'll keep his beard safe, like the ironmongers. You can spend a lot of money on your groceries, but if you don't add a little salt to your food, it will be inedible. You can't just talk about salt. You must actually use it. They expose their ignorance when they begin to speak, making loud declarations but demonstrating only their own unsightliness. Why don't they just give it up and make room for a competent speaker to talk? And when he begins, they must remain silent until he's come to the end of his speech. Your place is that of a listener. When you yourself attempt to speak, you only push your goal farther into the distance. At first the fish were chasing the water. Now it's the water that chases the fish everywhere it goes. Meat, wine, and melon have a quality such that when they are consumed by a healthy body, they serve to reinforce health. But if they are consumed by a diseased body, they will befriend illness. That's the reason why it's recommended to avoid eating meat altogether. Interesting. He says to avoid eating meat.
Both healthy and unhealthy, so even they had.
That's Shamas Tabriz. A man rushed to the mosque to perform his prayer, but the group prayer was over. Are they finished? He gasped. Yes, said one of the men. Upset to have missed out, the man sighed remorsefully. Hearing his deep sigh, the other man begged him, I'll donate to you all my life's prayers. Just give me that sigh. Your companion must be better than you, so he can lift you up and make you better too. I have filled my cup, but I cannot drink it. I cannot pour it out either. My heart doesn't allow me to let you go as I've done with the others. You may be talking of Rumi. Those who squander their possessions are the companions of the devil. They throw away not only their money, but also their lives, their eternal asset. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that there's no doomsday or resurrection. Still, how can one hide this gem of a life under a rock and let it simply go to waste? He's saying, even if there is no afterlife, you shouldn't waste your life. When you're in the midst of worship, what business have you with slander and backbiting? When your mouth is filled with sugar, what business does vinegar have there too? Can it be that perhaps your mouth was always filled with the sourness of vinegar? To understand the messengers of God is much more difficult than to understand God. One can conceive that every object has been crafted by an expert hand, that it hasn't just appeared on its own, but the messengers whom you consider similar to yourself on the inside and out have a different story beyond your imagination. To conceive of the craftsman is not so difficult. But how are we to understand how he truly is, how glorious is his glory, and how his infinity can be conceived? These insights are known only by his messengers, and you expect them to just share them with you so candidly. The surah that says, those who exert their efforts on our path shall be guided back to us, shall actually be read in reverse. When you see people exerting their efforts on our path, you must know that they are being guided by us. That's a lesson in the Quran. Want me to read that again? All right. Okay. When they hurt me, I only get stronger. I become even greater than I already am. Until you sleep, your sleep becomes like your wakefulness. Do not fall asleep. How could it be that God is awake while his servant sleeps? Be such that the hours in which you sleep are exactly the same as your waking hours. Well, you should be awake in your sleep. You complain that since you've eaten a particular food, you've been constantly ill and suffering and unable to hear or even speak properly. Have you ever come across something that's supposed to strengthen you to instead be bad for you and cause you such pain? What else remains if one cannot enjoy the normal things in life? Don't eat something that later on might make you say, I wish I hadn't touched it. I was so well before. How I regret having eaten it. When God is unhappy with you, angels will turn to face you. When God is happy with you, angels will turn to face you. When you have embraced the gardener, the whole garden is yours to pick from at your delight. Is that the end of the story? Not all weddings are the same, but this too is a wedding. I sigh in grief when I'm separated from my love. I scream in pain when I hear my beloved's goodbye. How much sweeter will be my death, having endured these two calamities in life. A wine merchant was selling his wine when a man looked at him and wondered, how strange, you're selling wine. What could you possibly buy that's better? Yeah, why would you sell your wine when it's You can't get anything better than the wine. An act of kindness by a judge is infinitely more valuable than the legal testimony of two witnesses. There is no shortage of thinking. You come up with a thought and make it your mask. From the first thought you are led to the next and the next, but none with any value. They don't have any value. Bring.
That's why you don't think when you meditate. Just get your mind rest.
Bring out the gold you're hiding away. I am nothing. Bring that nothingness then. First, why don't you show your own being? Being seeks nothingness. I'm already in tears. I need someone to cheer me up. Become such a drunk that you can experience total consciousness.
You like a bit of coffee?
Do you have coffee? Yeah, people are hypocrites. The more scholarly they are, the more they merely copycat each other. Some try to imitate the state of the heart of others, while some try to copy others' joy. Meanwhile, some attempts to imitate the prophet, and others try to imitate God by repeating his words. Yet another group does not copy God or repeat his words. They only speak of themselves. My only intention in saying Temple of Idols and Kaaba is to call your name. I whisper the words idol temple. Just to remind myself of you and the majesty of your face, I say the word idol because of its meaning, but without a beloved there can be no idol. Probably going to stop it here. Give it a minute here. The celestial spheres and everyone inhabiting them will rise to their feet to dance when one perfect man begins to whirl. That's enough.
When what?
When one perfect man begins to whirl.
Begins to whirl.
Whirl like whirling dervish. Whirl.
Oh.
Whirl.
That's a dance, eh?
Man has been created for a purpose, to find his origin, where he comes from. His outer and inner senses have been gifted to him as tools for finding this wisdom. When he uses them for other purposes, he will feel unsafe and be unable to enjoy his life. Even if he spends most of his time studying, which is in itself is a noble cause, he'll be denied his original purpose in life.
Repeat it again.
Man has been created for a purpose, to find his origin, where he comes from. His outer and inner senses have been gifted to him as tools for finding this wisdom. When he uses them for other purposes, he will feel unsafe and be unable to enjoy his life, even if he spends most of his time studying, which in itself is a noble cause. He'll still be denied his original purpose in life. And reading for now, we're reading from Shamsi Tabriz, the Little Book of Mystical Secrets by Maryam Mafi. She's a nice lady from London. Where is she from? She's from London. I don't see her picture.
I think we should